Hey everybody, Scott Jansen here, back with another 100K coaching program student interview. Today we have the amazing and awesome Daniela. I've been so excited for this one. This is going to be a massive interview, guys, for a lot of people who may not have seen Daniela before being a part of our program. Daniela's got a very cool backstory of where she started. We could almost say it's like celebrity status, which we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about what Daniela's been able to do in her coaching business, the niche that she's gone into, and how quickly this thing has just gone from literally zero just to absolute explosion. So looking forward to this one. So firstly, Daniela, thank you for being on this call.
Thank you so much, Scott. You make me laugh because it feels like such a big introduction.
Yeah, it will be. Okay, so we've got to make sure we keep up with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's start from the start. Let's go all the way back. You know, we talked on our strategy call. You got to introduce yourself to me. I had no idea who you are until I actually looked you up, and I thought, oh my God, look at her go. Let's start from scratch. Before you started coaching and getting into that thing and what you're doing now, tell us about yourself and tell me about your background.
Okay, well, Scott, I come from the recording music industry in Australia and started as a 14-year-old with stars in my eyes to be a recording artist.
Wow.
And of course, you have to become a master of your art. So I went to a prestigious performing arts school. I did music every day after school, weekends, performed, the whole thing. And I knew that at one point in my life that I was either going to take it seriously or it was a hobby. And so I went down the avenue of making it a professional lifestyle for myself. So I've never really had a 9-to-5 my whole life. I wouldn't know what that is. Yeah. If I wanted to create finances, I always used my talent, and that was singing. So I used to teach singing. I had a singing school, or I would do something that utilized my gift so I could become better at it. With the industry, we know it's one of the toughest industries to survive in. It's one of the toughest industries to keep motivated because it is a very lonely path as well. It's very competitive, and you know, you hear all these stories, and you know, unfortunately they are true, that you can feel that when you walk into an audition room, oh my God, eyes are staring at you, daggers are coming at you, it's all intense. But I learned from the best teachers. I had the best teachers who taught me confidence, and the first thing they taught me was how to command a stage. And so this has been drilled into me as a young artist growing up, and it's never left me. So I don't know any different than to be in a place of confidence and being very clear and precise about what I'm trying to portray as my message, because we were always taught if you're a singer, entertainer, you are giving of your gift to that audience member, and they are receiving by you keeping their attention. So could you imagine if you're doing a show for 3 hours and you're having to hold that attention as a young artist? You've really got to be in your confidence. So I moved from stage, then into television, and then obviously into the recording industry where I was working with top producers. And this is where it comes in behind the microphone. People think that it's easy. Oh, well, because no one can see you, you're behind a microphone. It's actually even more intense because the producer expects emotion. It expects you to pour out of you everything. So there was another level that I had to learn about behind the microphone and how I personified myself. So it was no good me being all expressive behind a microphone, and when they interviewed me face to face, that I was dull and boring.
Right.
It's not gonna work for me. So my friend and I used to work at a place called Australia's Wonderland.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it was the fun part.
Yeah.
And we were doing shows twice or 3 times a day, and I loved my job. I loved it because I loved getting up and knew that I was going to perform that day. And one day we actually said, let's get a record deal. Just because we
Why
felt
not?
like next level.
Yeah.
And, you know, funnily enough, as the words we did speak, that is actually what happened.
Wow.
We co-created a pop group together. We got signed by a major record label, and we inserted in between the Wiggles and High Five, just in the middle there, or actually over High Five. And we entered into the tweens market, and we did really, really well. But I will say one thing, it wasn't easy because we were absolutely smashed into, we were broken apart. So we were pulled apart as in psychologically, and then as a performing artist, we had to rebuild who we were and then bring that to our audience. And from that, I learned everything about my weakness areas that I had and that I carried with me as a child, not believing in myself. And this is why it leads to a telephone conversation with you. So I entered into the online business, you know, wanting to coach, I want to help people, you know, we've got this wanting to be out there and giving as much as we can. And I did free coaching for 2 years.
Wow.
Absolutely wiped me out. I didn't understand, is this how it works? Do you do this for 3-4 years, then you start to charge maybe $50? I don't know, because I didn't have anyone. And at that time, we didn't have people, leaders leading the coaches. So from that position, I got burnt out. And then I ended up getting a coach to help me out on how to change my mindset around money consciousness. And even still, I was not confident about what I was doing and who I was, but I started to sell high ticket sales, and I just went, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to just go all in. I'm an all in person. I burnt out again. I got clients, but I just didn't know how to juggle each person's personality, because I was serving everyone and anyone.
Got it. So when you were in the when you're in that, like, that pop group and stuff like that, what was that like? What's like a day to day for people who don't know about that world?
I want to tell you right now, it's not glitz and glamour. Yes, there were red carpet moments. There were ARIA awards. There were premieres. I mean, I've been to everything possibly that you could imagine. I've met everyone I could possibly imagine that I wanted on my bucket list. But I want to say something, is that it is work. It is hard work. Because I have also a background in marketing and sort of in management as well. So I was really the person that loved to read the contracts. I wanted to know how everything worked from a business perspective. And that took a lot of my energy too. But the whole part, a day in a life of being a recording artist, is that you are basically giving your whole life. Like, I'll just be honest, it is your whole life. The other part is that it's not a 9-to-5 job. I remember times in the recording studio, we had to have this song recorded. It was going to get released. There was no ifs or buts about it.
Had to
and
be
we were
done.
in the studio to 2 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
And we were doing that maybe, you know, 3 nights in a row. Then we might have a sleep in. We might have to go traveling. Like, we weren't going on an airplane all the time. We were road tripping to some out bush, you know, out God knows where, do a performance for 50 people, and it was in the newspaper, but it was a good thing to do. So you're constantly either in performance or behind the scenes. You have to write the next hit. You have to go on a meeting. You have to go and drive to this place, drive to that place. So it taught me I can live in a very messy mind because I know how to juggle that because of what I have been taught. The other thing that I will say about this industry is that we were actually taken through the whole thing of media training. So how to present ourselves, how to, you know, how to talk, how to talk, because we didn't know. We were just like going, yay, whatever. And they're like, not kind of working. Now, we were in the kids industry, so we had to be very careful about how we talked to that market as well. So the funniest thing, we weren't allowed to talk about coffee.
Wow.
Like, because, you know, you don't sit there and go, oh, I'm going to have my coffee. And then, you know, there's a 9-year-old going,
what's coffee?
Like, you know, but they're not really having coffee. They're maybe having a boost juice or something. So we had to really shift our gears. So it's not what everyone thinks it is. Reality TV does not really, you know, depict the reality of what goes on behind the scenes.
Got it. So I thought it was totally different. So there you go. So I've learned something. So what happened? Like, did you decide, like, I've had enough of this and I want to do something new and get into coaching? How did all that work?
See, I've always coached or done artist management of some sort, nurtured artists into success. And it was started for me when I was about 17. So I was doing it naturally anyway, but I never thought to charge. I mean, that wouldn't even cross my mind. I thought I must just give music lessons. So that was one part of it. When I was doing bricks and mortar out of a recording studio, I sensed there was going to be a big shift. The music industry was going to change. Technology was going to just absolutely take over. We had MySpace at the time. That's how I was getting most of my clients, through MySpace and advertising in a newspaper.
Wow.
So everyone's, we all have, oh my God, advertising that. Well, we were paying a lot of money to just have a small little ad to get people in, to have a strategy call, which was then a strategy meeting, and signing clients on to have their whole EPK, we call it at the time, to release them.
Okay.
So I was doing that, but I sensed, you know what, something's happening online. I can feel it. Everyone's going to be talking through a phone, or something's just going to go off. And so I shifted and I went behind the scenes and I started to learn about technology. I started to understand, you know what, you've got to position yourself from a different perspective now, Daniela. You're going to have to go into a different road and be totally online. So my non-negotiable to me is I'm online. That's it. We don't do anything else but online. So I wanted to be global. I didn't want to just be local. And that's the difference.
So moving forward, so how long ago was this when you started to do like the coaching online and starting to help people?
Okay, so that was in 2015. I started doing that, and that was because a person reached out to me who said, I'm going to create a sales page for you. I said, why?
What the hell is that?
Yeah, he goes, I've done all this stuff. I need you to just listen to what I'm going to tell you to do. And it was really weird. I said, no, I don't believe this can work. Who the heck is going to sign up to something like this? And I got over 250 women to join my membership group. Now, initially it was a very low ticket. Like I'm talking like $50. But for someone who's never had anything online and you see, a couple of grand come in, you think, oh my God, it actually worked.
Done it. Yeah.
It's not as bad,
Yeah.
So that brought up my confidence. But all I did in that membership group was actually create a little program for women to understand, what they were going through in their life. And it was very serving everyone. And I just recorded music. I recorded meditational music for women to enjoy. And they loved it. But I knew I couldn't stay there. And so this is where my mindset had to change. I did that for so long. And then I actually scrapped the whole thing. I said,
Really?
nah, whole new me. Like, we are going all the way into confidence, business, and visibility. And that's when I got scared. And that's when this moment happened with calling you.
Yeah. So when you were teaching all of these women and you're doing like most people, you start like a subscription or a membership site, low numbers, because you think if I just get 1,000 people in at $10, I can make all the money in the world. What, like, obviously that gets a lot because you've got a lot to juggle. There's a lot of work. You're not getting paid that much. When you made the transition to do something different, what was the goal? What were you trying to do instead of that?
Okay, the goal was that I was not going to die in the midst of it because my energy was so much that even if I kept giving, it wouldn't have been enough. And I think to understand that kind of thing, no matter how much you give, it just doesn't seem to be enough because they'll push more, especially when there's people that are having the same thing reoccurring over and over again, and you seem to be saying the same thing. So I thought, well, I can't do this to myself anymore. I was actually getting to the point where I wasn't enjoying it, to be honest with you. People were getting results, but I wasn't enjoying my life. My life was a spiraling mess of time zone differences, and I didn't have myself set in order. And I knew that if I didn't make change, I probably would just go out of the whole thing and not ever come back into it. So it was a shift of what is my value? What can I give people that I give results in? Because this was my big issue. Like, what result do I give? I don't know what result I give. What do I give? What do I give? And I had to come back to self-confidence. And I'd lost my self-confidence because I had invested in big masterminds programs that cost me a fortune. And it didn't work out. And I felt absolutely gutted by it. And I actually had a year away from like touching anything. I was so scared. And I thought, no, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore to myself. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But you have to override that and come back into your confidence again.
What was it like? And this is interesting because, you know, we've got a lot of like people that have come from your position in this program. We've got some very successful coaches and therapists that are now joining the program as well. And I get to talk to them and I see sort of, you know, how this is all related. What was it like for you to go from somewhere that like people were coming to the concerts or, you know, coming to the events, looking at you as like, oh my God, it's her, to now trying to run a business, do it online and realizing it sort of feels like I'm starting all over again. Nothing's working. What happened? I went from success to confusion. What the hell happened? What was that like?
Oh my gosh, Scott, you know, when I think about it, I don't know how the heck I do these tower moments in my life, but I do them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it is that, that old saying that, you know, you have all this success and it gets ripped away from you and you can go into a depression. You can go into, because your whole thing is that you thrive off that attention. So being kind of, I guess not brought up, but in an environment where, you know, you have to shine and you have to be this and you have to be that. So that's ingrained in you. And then when that gets taken away, you start to think that my identity is, well, if I'm not in someone's face, if I'm not delivering some kind of amazing song or this, nobody wants to know me. So I went into what we call a low of the lowest. It's a very dark night of the soul for myself. And I literally just didn't know if I'd ever want to touch anything with being visible, because I saw that, well, I had this, you know, what I call some degree of success, and it didn't work out for me. So that means I don't have anything to give on an online platform. I'd just be laughed at. So when I've spoken to you, the funniest thing is I had hidden a lot of my stuff, like a lot of my awards, whatever. I put them in a box.
Wow. And
I didn't want to know about them. I didn't actually even want anyone to even find me, that I had that life. I wanted to be the businesswoman. I wanted to be the one that, you know, is online doing this. And it's like, well, Daniela, you got to realize people are going to find you somewhere and they're going to put that together. And I was actually really embarrassed, would you believe, to talk about my past as a industry performer. I don't even know why. So going through that low brings you into that place where you question everything, question the life decisions you made. Why did things turn out that way? And then I started to feel that I was inadequate, that I really didn't have anything to offer anyone. Now, if I didn't have the support of my very close friends who kept saying to me, why are you sitting on this so long? Like, how long are you going to sit like this for? You're just going to wither away with the what if, why didn't it happen kind of thing. You need to take control of your life. And that's what it was New Year's. I think I called you on New Year's Day, Scott. Like, who calls someone on New Year's Day?
That's right.
Like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was New Year's Eve and my mind was going nuts. It was going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? This can't start this forever. I got to do something. I got to do something. I got to do something. And I thought, that's it. I'm going to reach out to Scott.
I've still got those messages. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, hello, the guy, it's like New Year's a day. Like, people are busy. And I'm like, no. He's online all the time. I'm just going to put it out there.
Why do you think you couldn't figure this out for yourself? Because very interesting. You've gone from a place where you understand the industry, you understand, even though it's the entertainment industry, you understand business, you're looking at this stuff, you're involved in it. What was stopping you from getting from where you were to where you become, which is in this lull, like depression, I can't work it out? What was stopping you from just figuring all of it out for yourself and just taking off again?
Belief. No self-belief. Absolutely no self-belief. I listened to the voices of the inner critic. I listened to my failures. I compare myself a lot. You know, I have a lot of friends who are very high up in the industry. I compared myself to that and I wondered why I didn't become that, even though they're my closest good friends. No issue, but it was just like, why didn't I? And it was a belief. It was, you're not good enough. To be honest with you, I struggled for years with accepting my voice or the way that I look. It's really weird, right? Or showing up visibly. I always thought there was something wrong and something's not right. So by me going into my cave, that would be safer. I played safe. I didn't want to own I didn't want to own me anymore. I didn't even like me. Like, let's just be honest, I didn't like me at all. I didn't like what I had turned out. When I knew that as a kid, I was my vision was so big. And then I look to now and I go, what happened?
Yeah.
So I'm a very critical, high achiever. And that kind of attitude can get you into a lot of trouble, because you could have, I don't know, some amazing person come out from nowhere and say, hey, you're this and that, and you still won't believe that you've got what it takes. I had to get down to the lowest of my low moment of literally crying out, going, no, this is not, if I keep going this way, I actually will probably self-destroy in a sense. Like, I'm talking not physically, just mentally. You've got those voices and you think, it's got to stop. This has got to stop, you know?
So what happened next? What made you think, you know what, I've gone from this bad place to overnight, as an example, going, maybe I can do this. Maybe I should do this. How did that all come again?
Okay. So it wasn't even, it was I have to do this. I have to do this. And literally lying on my bed and saying, what's the name that's going to show up in my head right now? Who have I seen? Oh my God, this Scott guy keeps showing up on my Facebook. It's like, scroll, he's there. Where'd he come from? I don't even know how we even became, I don't care. It's just, it means it, for me, I get messages like that. I run with them. It was, I cannot sit on the fence anymore and pretend that everything is okay. You know, it's a matter of saying it to yourself first and going, right, what is the action I need to take? Because I can daydream about this all day. It's all nice in my imagination. It's going to be all wonderful when I do this and do that. But what action am I going to take that's going to make me very, very, very scared right now? And that action was to actually reach out to you, because remember, I had been burnt so much. You told me,
yeah.
I did not want to have anything to do with another coach at all. I just, no.
So why'd you reach out to me then? Because, yeah, you said, as most people do, they got burnt before. Why'd you reach out?
Because I saw that what you were doing was actually giving results. That's the thing. You just weren't doing pie in the sky, you know, whatever, hey, feel good stuff. I actually kept seeing the results, and I thought, you know what? I need to talk to this guy. If he actually is, like, there's people, there's humans saying this, you know? It wasn't just you saying it. Yeah. It was like there was humans actually coming back and speaking about it and saying where they'd come from and how they had changed. And I thought, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And you actually called me out on the call. You were like, what are you trying to do for people? I said, I'm going to set up their online business and I'm going to do all this. And you're like,
no, you're not. No, you're not. Because you don't know how to do it.
Yeah. I'm like, what's this guy talking about? And he can't tell me. And he's like, yeah, you're going to tell people how to be visible in front of the camera. And I just went, no.
Yeah.
Because I thought people know how to do that. Why would they have an issue with that? They don't want to know that. And you're like,
you're not seeing it, are you?
All wrong. They don't want to know how to set up an online business. They want to know, how do they get on a camera like this, on a Facebook Live, and be full of vibrancy and have a clear message, solve a problem, give results, get on an interview. People can't do that. And I'm like, oh, whatever. People can do this. Like, what's the big deal? Just get in front of the camera. And I started to realize, hold on, Daniela, you've been doing this since you were 9.
There you go.
Right? Do you think people since they were 9 have been sitting in front of the camera?
Yeah.
No.
No way. And people need it. It's a real pain in a real market.
I never knew that. And here I am, blah, 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 blah. No, Scott, no. And I kept deflecting away from it because you said, well, you've got all this industry background. I said, it doesn't matter. I'm here to set up people's online business.
And I remember saying to you, okay, we want to set up people's online business. Have you done it before? No.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do it? No. What the hell are you going to teach people? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's not a good business
but
model.
I'm staying away from being visible and talking about what I used to do and all of that, background of the music industry. I'm staying away from it. I'll make myself stay. And gosh, I was adamant. But you said it, Daniela. Once you get into the program, it's going to shift everything. And I took on board what you said. I said, that's it. He said, do Facebook Lives. I'm doing them. And I'm doing them because I love being on the camera. I have actually no issue. I love being on the camera, and I love to help people get that kind of confidence too. And that's what I did. Literally just did like week 1, week 2. I was like, okay, Facebook Live. Do it now.
Yep. But I remember you still fought me on it because here you are, week 1 or 2 in the program. We'd booked a couple of strategy calls. And I said, okay, where are we in the program? You said, Scott, I've done this. I've got my MOS. I've got my niche. I've got my price. And I go, awesome. What are you giving these people? I'm going to start their online business. Oh, fuck, you haven't listened, have you? You're still trying to fight it. Yeah. So we pushed and pushed and pushed. And I don't think it was until you started to do the Facebook Lives where it clicked, because I've still got the messages where you sent it through to me and you said, Scott, I don't know what's happened. I've had this day where I've been emotional. Something shifted in my mind. I get it. I get what you're trying to say. And holy shit, it's happening really, really quick. It
was the input. And Daniela, what is your best inputs? It's getting on those lives and solving a problem, and people started to flock. And then it went into the strategy calls, and it was basically like, I'm pretty quick. I'm like, let's go on call now. On the call now. And then people were actually signing up. And I thought, oh no, there's something wrong with this.
Yeah, what have I done wrong? Was it meant to be this easy? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, no, there's something wrong here. Like, people are paying me for confidence on camera. And I think I was just like, no, I'll just sit quietly. I won't say, as soon as this thing, I won't say anything. We'll just see if it actually really works.
Yeah, it's very hard to see a niche and a pain when you're so in your head, when you want things to be one way, but you miss what the market is actually telling you. You miss there are millions of coaches all around the world who want to run a business, but there's a million coaches like myself who teach that. But there's not a lot of people who can show up, like you said, with vibrancy and turn Facebook Lives into a viable business. It's a niche inside of a niche.
It's amazing how you see it that way, because I could not, for the life of me, I fought with you and I thought nobody would want this.
You want to know why? Emotional.
Wow.
Instead of systems. It's the systems thinking over the emotion. Emotion blinds us. Emotion stops us seeing what people really want and need, because we're so busy going, this is what I want for people. This is what I'm emotionally charged by. But when you miss out on the real pain, you don't look at this as a system, like an input, process, output, like we teach you, you would have missed the mark. And had you not made that shift, we wouldn't be on this call right now. You would have still been pushing and fighting it.
That is very, 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 very true. And I think when we're attached to this thing, it's like we have this kind of, I don't know, it's like you're holding a baby or something. It's like, oh my God. It's like, no, just let it go.
Probably the best thing you did was learn to let it go, to remain flexible. And not a lot of people can do that. They can't let go of this ideal niche that they think they want to help people with, because they see everybody else doing it. They go, I want to do that because it looks successful. I want to do that, instead of seeing what real people are looking for. And those people were right in front of you.
This is very true what you say about a lot of people can't let go of their thing, because as a songwriter, when we would write songs and we would present our songs to the A&R and they would butcher it, they'd just go, oh, that's crap. And you're like,
yeah, you're emotionally attached to it. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're like, you close the door behind you and you got tears and you need You need your manager there to go, it's okay, Daniela, you're going to be okay. And I think 3 or 4 times of like being absolutely, butchered in that way, in a nice way. I just meant to go, whatever. It doesn't matter. If that song's not right for this album, it'll be right for something else, or maybe it just gets put in a vault. And I learned very quickly that within the coaching industry as well, to be the same. Like, don't get too emotionally attached to this stuff, because it will literally, well,
it'll break your heart. It breaks dreams, it breaks hearts if you become too emotionally attached to anything in this business.
I agree with that.
So when you started to do the Facebook Lives, like this took off quick, like you started to shine. Even I was watching them going, maybe I need to call her and work out how I can do them better. I'm going to hire her. Yeah, I wrote that too. Yeah. So you started to do them. People started to notice. What type of lives were you doing? What type of content were you creating? What were you talking about?
Yeah, so I have a songwriter's method that I use, that I've created myself. And it's how you write a song is how I present my content. So as a songwriter, I've always known that there's always a problem and we have a solution, and there's always a resistance or a conflict in the middle. That's just where it is, right? So my content runs basically that way, but I'm very, very connected to what my client is struggling with. And every single live is serving. It's not, I'm not having to talk about my program. I don't talk about what I do. No, I'm there going, right, you want to know why your business isn't working at the moment and why you keep having the same thing happen over and over again? I'm going to give you one quick tip about why you're procrastinating. Bang. And I go straight into my method that I have used all of my life naturally without even knowing. And I thought, I'm going to do this. This is the way that it segues into it. So people kept jumping on board because they were like, oh my gosh, number one, you have energy, you're enthusiastic, but at the same time, you actually do give value. You're not just talking fluff.
You're not just selling.
No, there's actually no selling.
Isn't that interesting?
That's
you don't sell, but you actually make money in a business. Who would have thought?
This is the way we got. The old model has died. It's been flipped over. We don't do sell, and then get them in. It's like, no, we're serving. Come on in, have a coffee with me. Sit down. Let's discuss this. And then it brings them into a more intimate space. And then basically by that stage, they're already in. It's the way
so what was the type of models, or what are the things you were doing with the other coaches? Like, did you have a niche? Were you looking at pricing? Was it talking about content creation? What were you learning?
Okay, so it's in other coaches that I had been
with. The other programs that you'd been on. What were you learning?
Cold, hard.
Selling.
Hard, like just cold. Find them, attack them, eat them.
Sell them. Yeah, consume them.
Throw the bones out and next.
Yeah, I can't imagine you doing that.
No, because I'm not that kind of person. So when you're pushed to that limit, I fell apart and said, no, I'm not worthy of anything right now. And when you have a coach that's just pushing it down your throat, do it. And you're like, oh my God, I can't. Okay. Yeah. It work.
So you're doing content now. You're serving your customers instead of selling to them. Who would have thought? What was it like to get that first client? I've still got the message on my phone. What was it like to get that first client? What was the validity that you got? What was it like?
Oh my God. I just sat there and I said, nah, this can't be possible. Because, I'm really good with all my back end stuff, like payment gateways. Everything's all set. And my thing was, right, have it all ready. Like you don't do it right.
Set up first. Yeah.
Set it up because you're intentionalizing that this person is already in with me, right? So even doing that was already saying to myself, it's on. And after she'd signed up, I just went, like you do your little dance around the house, and then you wonder, oh my God, what's going to happen? Well, the funniest thing, as I will tell you, is PayPal literally froze everything. It's because it happened, right? Yeah. They just froze everything. It was like, we have a red flag here. What's going on?
Yeah, because you actually made money in your business. We're going to red flag you.
I was
That's
a big
awesome.
red flag. It was
Yeah.
a big department. I'm like, I can't even touch the money. What's going on here? So I basically rang them up and said, well, what have I got to do here? And they're like, you got to give it this amount of time, whatever. And I got around it. There was a little loop that I found that I was able to, get around all that. And, the client and I worked together, and she basically within 3 weeks created a 12K month.
Just like that.
Yeah. Because camera confidence. She said, I don't know how to get in front of the camera. I don't know what to say. I said, listen, bang, bang, bang. Do this, do that. She was very good at just action. She was very action orientated, and she got her results. And now it's just going up and up and up and up and up. And that's the kind of people that I love to work with, who are ready to just smash all the boundaries and just go for it.
Isn't that interesting? Like, we look at other coaches and go, I'm just going to do what they do. Yes. I'm going to teach people to sell, organic outreach, social media, payment gateways, profiles, LinkedIn, YouTube. That's what you tried to do. And I said, no, let's find a segment in the market. And look, from something that seems so small.
Oh, so small.
People are like, you can't get enough of you. People are calling you out, ready to work with you. It's
the weirdest thing, Scott, because I've always been I'm very techie, I like all that. I like all that stuff, all the back end stuff, all the funnels and all this and that. And I'll go in there and I'll work on it for months, like a little elf. I've done nothing, no sales.
Yeah.
I haven't been on Facebook Live. I'm just going,
yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm not going back there again. I did it before and I was just consumed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go straight to my people. And where are they? We're not having to pay to be on a Facebook Live. Do we not understand that it would cost us thousands of dollars to put a commercial on television? We have this platform for free.
Why not use it?
Why not use it?
So you're working with clients, working through what I'm interested in, like what, for lack of better words, like what was their problem? Why couldn't they show up? How was it affecting them? Were they actually business owners as well?
Yes. So we've got coaches who have been in business maybe for 12 months or more. Their biggest issue was procrastination.
Wow, really?
This is so that procrastination comes to that second guessing themselves. So 1 minute they might be looking at that niche, next minute they're doing that. Oh, that looks like it could be good. So it's
sounds like you.
It sounds like little versions of me.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. That's exactly what happened. And then their message was watered down. And then they had no confidence to even put a sale. Like, what would they even charge when they don't even know themselves what the heck they're giving? And the thing was, by not even having that, would you even show up on a Facebook Live? Like, what are you going to do? Go, hey, live a great life. Talk to me. I can make it great. And it's like, that's not going to get you anywhere these days. So we had to go back to, well, who are you first? What are your expert skills? Do you have skills? What results have you given yourself in your life in these skills? Because that's probably a good, signpost of where you could take it. Have you been able to help people with these skills yet? Even if it's for nothing, like have you done this in your lifetime? Oh, yeah. And so then we narrow it down because people are scared to narrow their niche. They're scared to go, oh, I help people with,
you as well.
Play only baseball. And they got freaked out. Like, oh, no, I couldn't do that. I said, yeah, but if you don't do that, you then are a net that is so wide that you put yourself into the swimming of all the other coaches and you don't really have anything to shine in.
Nothing different. Yeah.
There's nothing different about you. So we had to bring it back. Some people don't like having to go back and do that. But then they found that they became a new person. There was a new fire in them. And we also look through how we create content that is magnetic because it's from them. It's not from something out there or someone said this and that's what I need to say to and regurgitate it. No, you can't. Even as an artist, I can't do that. So I sing a Celine Dion song. I don't sing it like Celine. Because what's the point? You want to go listen to Celine, you go listen to Celine.
Listen to her, yeah.
You want to to listen to Daniela, you listen to Daniela. And I said the same thing to them. Don't try and be anybody but yourself. And just work within one area that you can give them results right now. And then we can go bigger. But that's the fear. The fear was narrowing down, creating content that was expert knowledge, because people don't believe. They want more accreditation.
More certifications. Yeah.
How many certifications, how many accreditations do you think you're going to need before you're actually going to step out and say something? And they're like, oh, if I just do one more. And I'm like, I forbid you to do any more. Right? That's it. Go out there and put yourself out there. And, I created so when the clients sign up, they have a private Facebook group with me, just me and them. Okay, just to start them. And they started doing their live videos in there.
Beautiful idea.
Oh, sweating. It's all like, oh my God, what's going on with my body? It's shaking. I said, isn't it great that you're doing it here now and not putting yourself, first and foremost straight away to all your Facebook page people. Oh, yep. Now I'm getting all revved up. They're getting excited. That was the whole idea, is to break them open by just doing it little steps by steps.
Brilliant. Being that you knew all this and you're an expert in this, you've been doing this all your life, what the hell did you need my help with?
Scott, I told you, mate, I had no belief in myself. First of all, I had no system. So I was just random. I was like, where's Wally? Right? I've never really had the support of someone just to be very outspoken and say, no, you're not doing that. You're doing this. And I thought, okay, this guy's serious. Like, usually others go, yeah, okay, you can go have a go with that. Yeah, see how you go. Right? And it doesn't work out. But you were very adamant. You obviously had some kind of insight, and you just went, listen, this is what you're doing. You're going to go down this way. Get in the program and just sort yourself out. And it's like, okay, I'm in. So when you have someone that has that authority, because you know that sometimes you need that, where someone just goes bang, 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 go and do that. That's in your face. And I needed it in my face for that time, because I'd had too many people say, oh, yeah, that sounds good. You just have a go with that and see how you feel. It's like, no.
Yeah, too much fluff, too much, it'll be okay to work out eventually. And again, that's the systems thinking thing. And that's the attitude you're bringing to these wonderful women who are working with you as well, probably without even realizing as well, rather than they've probably been other coaches as well who have just said, you're awesome. You don't make mistakes in life. Everything's a learning lesson. Just give it a go, show up and see what happens. It doesn't work like that.
No, I do not do that, because I don't operate my life like that. I've always known what I want. And yeah, I stumble and I fall and I get off and I get up again, whatever. But the fact is, I end up where I want to be in the end. That's what I do know.
I mean, you've only been in this program for 5 months, 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah.
And you're on track for multiple 6 figures this year.
Yes.
What's that like in such a short amount of time?
For me, it is, I'm very grateful because I've gone through a lot in my last couple of years personally. And change for me is not always the biggest, the greatest thing to do. To be able to do this on my own is just, all I can say is, what can I do next? Where can I take this next? How do I make it more global? How do I create global sensations out of my clients? Because that is my actual thing. I'm about creating a global sensation, and so that people can be online owning it, not just, diddle-daddling. Own your space. And that's something I've always known as an artist. You get on that stage, you own it. You don't sit there and go, oh, there's people out there. Oh, quick, let's go back out. Which is something that I'm not scared of. So I will really, really put that into your DNA so that you are very much in your strengths all the time.
I think that whole showing up on camera thing freaks people out. I remember the first Facebook Live I did in front of people, I sneezed on camera. And how do you return from that? But that could crumble you. That could make you think, oh shit, I'm not doing that again. But you're right. You have to show up online. You're a business owner. You have no choice. If you're running, it's funny, if you're running a business online, but I don't want to show up online, I'm too scared, it's not going to work. Not going to work.
I think you and I know exactly the data out there of where things are heading is that, you know, there's such a high percentage of people that are watching live streaming on different platforms. It's the way that we connect now, of course, in the situations that we're in too. But secondly, is that business is changing. People are watching and are wanting personal attention. So they're going to go where that's been given.
Yeah,
So
I think it's changed. Yeah, I think it's changed. Like it's gone from hard selling, sales pages, squeeze pages, click funnels to now it's turned itself back around where people want to see you. People are sick of hearing and reading sales pages or hearing, you know, those crappy marketers where they stand in front of their Audi, in front of their rented out mansion and say, this is the life you can have. That's gone. That part of marketing has gone. And I think what's working in your favor right now is you're getting results for your clients. Results will always outlast marketing, the new fad in marketing that comes around.
Well, just imagine, Scott, you know, someone that comes to me and is absolutely scared, fearless, like fear running through their body of putting that device in front of their face. And I remember one client was like, but when I'm about to press the live button, I see my face. And I'm like, yeah.
That's what's supposed to happen. You're not going to see your audience.
Yeah, I don't want to see me. I said, listen, this is what it's about. You're going to have to get used to looking at yourself and speaking to that device like it's like there's thousands of people. Like you just have to. And it's a mental thing as well. So, you know, when you go, you have to cross that road. You know that you've done it. You're gonna smash it because people are looking for connection. They want connection. They want someone to be real. They don't want to see just a logo. Unfortunately, it doesn't cut it. We need to see you. We need to feel you. We need to know, okay, who she worked with. Oh, let's go check out the page. Well, I don't see anything. Where you need to show up. You need to, that's why I do interviews like you do with my clients who've had great wins. And they're more than happy to get on camera because they're like, yeah, give me the camera.
Absolutely. You've changed their life. Yeah. So 6 months from now, what is the goal with the business? Okay. Where do you see it? What's the goal with your clientele?
I definitely want to be able to scale, okay, because I don't think that I can create many of me at this rate. It's very difficult because I'm already a very involved person in my clients, you know, development. I need to scale. I need to be able to allow myself to go there. That's my thing because I'm very tight.
You go back to default. Yeah.
I don't want to go back to default. Secondly, in the next 6 months, you know, I would love to be able to expand over into Europe. This is my vision, back into my homeland and have a lot of influence in Europe per se. Wonderful. And helping entrepreneurs. Yeah.
What have you really learnt over this 5 months about the coaching industry, business, being a female entrepreneur? What have you learnt?
What I have actually learnt is that it is, unfortunately, and this isn't probably in a good way too, it is a lonely ride. I will tell you. It's not one where you feel like you've got an avalanche of people going, oh God, I said, yeah. You do have to understand that you've got to have some kind of ritual or some kind of daily routine that is empowering for you. So whatever that is, maybe you might go for a jog in the morning and you feel invigorated. You've got to do things for yourself. That's entrepreneur, kind of on your own, right? And I think also too what I've learned is that if I don't get, this is my high achieving thing, if I don't get that level of where I thought I would get, whether it's in, you know, client sales or helping people to the level that I want to, I can't destroy myself over it. I just have to be in a place where I'm grateful and that I'm I'm still moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And as a female, and this is different for a male, men are very geared towards take action, just do it, done, moving on. Women, I'm attached, it's emotional, I don't know, oh my God, I don't know, these feelings are coming up. I don't think I gave enough on that call, or maybe I should give them an extra something, you know. It's like, oh my God. I've learned as a female that I have, you know, a feminine quality, but I also have to have the masculine quality as well.
Yes. And
that was something that I struggled with, because that's where the system comes in. That's where you have the responsibility for finances is that masculine side. So there's a balance. I need to balance. So then that means that I have a balance of male friends and female friends to be able to be in that energy all the time.
Beautiful.
It's really important.
I love it. Where do you think you'd be right now had you not joined the program?
Well, I think I'd still be procrastinating on whether I'm going to create online businesses for people.
You would be, because I remember I've got the message where you said, Scott, I'm going to build people's funnels. It's what everybody does.
What the heck was I thinking? Like, that just doesn't even make any sense to me right now. I probably would have dibble-dabbled in some, you know, free something groups and just, you know, had a bit of a go again and, you know, got burnt by the fire and whatever. I think you have to make a solid decision that you're not prepared to go back to your old life. So it's a rebirth and you transform. So I would not be transformed in this way. Like I know I've transformed in confidence as well as you get clients, your confidence soars. It's just like something inside of you just goes, woo!
Because it starts working. Yeah,
exactly.
So what advice, being the last question for this little interview, what advice would you have for people, women, men, entrepreneurs, therapists, coaches, business owners who are going to watch this? What words of advice would you have them, knowing that you've come from literally nothing and scratch to this massive, thriving business? What advice would you have for them?
Okay, so I have heartfelt advice, and then I have, like, you know, advice that you take action on. The heartfelt advice I have right now is just honestly really connect to who you are. Do not copycat coaching ain't gonna cut it anymore.
No.
It used to work because there wasn't many of us.
That's right.
Okay? Now there is an influx, and if you're not connected to your true essence, and if you're not the result of your coaching, I don't know how on earth you're able to give the other person a result. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. So be a person that is absolutely connected to the result that you've given yourself, first and foremost. What obstacles have you been able to just smash in your life? And then have a look at how you're running your business. Like, is it all over the shop like I was? Do you not have clear direction? You might have a month where it's like this, and the next 3 months it's like, and you haven't got a system in place. You haven't got a coach or some kind of program where you know that you can be asking questions, right? And get the right advice. I think this when you bring those two together, so it's like your emotional side, which is the connection to what results you give, and then having that system in place, it actually ignites you. It ignites your business. It ignites where you're going. Because without direction, you'll just go around like this. Yeah. And nothing happens.
And then have all the dreams you want.
Yeah. And you know what I say too? Focus on one platform. Please, for heaven's sake, don't be going around doing you know, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn. You got platforms everywhere, and you're just like cut up into little pieces. I did that. I can say from experience. Stick to a platform where you know your people are hanging out there.
That's it.
Okay, and start there. Don't be going everywhere.
That's it. Simple advice, but it rings the world of truth. But a lot of people get lost in that chaos thing.
Oh, yeah, because there's always something new. There'll be something next week that'll pop up as an app, and we'll all be on going for 2 days, and then we go, oh, that didn't work.
I started seeing those things on YouTube with the new funnel that's coming out, the new invisible funnel that's going to take the world by storm. Like, Jesus Christ. Invisible. Well, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Daniela. That's so cool from where you've come. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that. You can see how much energy Daniela has. So if you're looking at getting more confidence on camera, definitely, mastering Facebook Live, such a small part of the market that'll have massive dividends for your business. Daniela, where can they find you? We'll also leave the links in the description, guys, but where can they best find you?
Well, Scott, as you tell me, Facebook private page.
That's it. That's it.
From there.
Just Google her name. You can see it on the screen. She'll show up. You'll see a million Facebook Lives. I highly suggest reaching out to her. She is a world of knowledge. You've seen where she's come from now. You're not going to get any more knowledge than that. But Daniela, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go for the rest of your busy day. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the group. That was awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.